Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Kansas City jazz saxophonist Stephen Martin on his new 2022 CD called High Plains. This is his second album as a leader, and he finds a great band in vibraphonist and pianist Peter Schlamb, bassist Ben Leifer, and drummer David Hawkins. It also features guest appearances by saxophone legend Bobby Watson and the great Matt Otto. They are both featured soloists. He opens up about this album, the COVID world, and the future as 2022 moves on. Enjoy.
Hey, thanks for taking a minute out to Neon Jazz. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my brain, especially when I talk to Kansas City cats, always goes back to the first month or two after the whole COVID thing happened in March and April. And I think how refreshing it is that all of these new albums are going to start coming out. And I think in its own way and functionality, there's going to be a karmic washing and a revival, so to speak, of, just musicians having the opportunity to put something out with the chance to be able to play live. Have you thought about that notion as this new album comes out?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I wanted to get this project out, some time ago, but I think, all of us, I think the whole world just kind of went on pause for a little while with things like that and really just kind of life in general. So, yeah, I think that's the way that you described it. That's a great, eloquent way of saying it. I think there's going to be tons of great music coming out and, people expressing things that they've been feeling in the last year and a half, or I guess we're basically at 2 years now with this. So, I think that's going to be a great thing, and very excited to share my little piece with people as well.
What did there was a lot of time of self-reflection. There was a lot of time of quarantine and isolation. What did you learn about yourself over this time that maybe you didn't realize before that's going to make you a stronger person and musician as you get out and promote and play live shows, hopefully, as 2022 opens up?
Well, that's a great question. I think we all had plenty of time to do plenty of that as far as self-reflection goes. And I think I learned about myself that I think it's really just, feelings of appreciation and gratitude. I'm 32 years old now, and I think that's about maybe when you start to feel a little bit of your mortality. It's like you kind of go, at least for me, just, went through my 20s and, certainly was, you feel kind of a little bit of invincibility or something like that, and so I think you just start to appreciate what you have, and I have family close by, and I have a new niece now. She's 6 months old as of 2 days ago, and I'm a first-time uncle, and so it's, things like that I just kind of sit back and think, life is good, and you're just happy to be healthy, and you really appreciate those things. Whereas, when you're 25 and you're, playing at, clubs every other night and stuff like that, it's like you just kind of, burn the candle at both ends, and you just think, well, nothing bad could ever happen to me, things like that. So I think that maybe is the most important thing I learned during that time, just of self-reflection.
So you have a triumphant new release, High Plains. Talk to me a little bit about just kind of in general having this album out and how it came together and the cats that are on this album, just kind of your general bubble around this project.
Well, the title High Plains goes back to my roots. I'm originally a little boy from Wyoming and still have a lot of family out in that area of the country. It also pays homage to, this guy, Dale Peterson, who was a truck driver from Montana, but as my grandmother always said, he was much more than just a truck driver. They were coworkers. He passed away. He was terminally ill. Basically, when I was a teenager in high school and I had just started getting into jazz, he had this lifelong jazz collection. He would literally drive the country and have, hundreds and hundreds of CDs in his truck. And I mean, this isn't, these are not for the faint of heart. I mean, anywhere from late Coltrane to Andrew Hill, Miles Davis, like anybody that you can think of, it's in there. And when she told him about me, he said, well, you know what, can you box up my collection and go give it to your grandson, because I want it to go to somebody who's going to appreciate it. And so we had a little family vacation. This was probably when I was 17, and she shows up with these, probably 5 or 6 of those huge Rubbermaid tubs, and they're just filled to the brim with all this. And that's basically been my, collection that I've listened to for my whole life since then, so that it's really the High Plains is, about my roots, but also about Dale, as far as the people on it, really blessed to have Peter Schlamb on it playing vibes and vibraphone and piano. I don't think I'm really going out on a limb by saying he's really one of the more profound musicians that you'll ever come across. And, Ben Leifer on bass, he plays acoustic and electric bass. Funny thing is, I wasn't really planning on having electric bass originally on the record. He actually, when we had a rehearsal, he was coming from a job that he was working, and he didn't have his bass with him. And so at the house where we were, at Peter's house, they just, he had an electric bass there. So he was like, oh, well, we'll just rehearse on this, We played a couple of the songs, and I was like, oh, man, Ben, I think I actually want you to play electric on a couple songs, And so that's on the title track, and then also on Matt Otto's original Euphony that he also played on. And so those turned out great. And then David Hawkins is on drums. He's this really great young drummer, up-and-coming drummer in Omaha, Nebraska. Had the pleasure of meeting him a few years ago, and just always had it on the front of my mind that I wanted to record with David. So I'm really glad that worked out. Yeah, what can you say about special guests? It's these guys, Bobby Watson and Matt Otto. It's like I don't know that there's anything I can say that would really do their careers justice. And what they've meant to me, they're basically my 2 biggest mentors in my life, and particularly musically. So Bobby plays on the Benny Golson Standard Stablemates with me. And then, as I said a second ago, Matt Otto's song Euphony, he plays on that one as well. And then he was also the producer on the record as well. So that's pretty much the full team outside of the guys, who are the sound, engineers, and Chad Mice at Massive Sound, and then Colin Jordan at Boiler Room Mastering in Chicago. They've obviously all played an integral part in this as well. So that always takes a team of people, and that's to make something like this happen. And that's the full team right there.
What do you hope the listener gets from this experience? It's I know listening to it, I was immediately allured and pulled in it's just a wonderful album. There's just a great feel to it. I'm a huge vibes guy anyway. Love Peter's work. So
yeah.
But overall, what are you hoping that people get from this album, especially during this very strange time that we're still living through?
Yeah, well, I spend a lot of time just thinking about having a variety, of music. So I think that, was accomplished on this. I wanted to take people to, different feelings, and really kind of, maybe in a general way, just take the listener away from the day. Those are some of my favorite, music, whether it's Coltrane or, more modern artists, Kurt Rosenwinkel, Walter Smith, whoever it is, I'm always when it can take me away from the day in a sense, sometimes as an escape, but sometimes as a way to, sort of proverbially look in the mirror, and deal with your own things. I think that's maybe at the root of it, and so, yeah, my hope is that it does something for people. And, I've always joked with people that as long as people don't listen to me or my music and leave with apathy, then I feel like I've done something, even if it's, viscerally negative. Obviously positive is great, but, even if it's negative, sometimes there's more there than, I don't like this person's music or whatever. So as long as they're feeling something, then I feel like I've accomplished what I wanted to.
So as 2022 kind of opens up, what's the hope for getting out and performing this live and kind of picking things up in a more traditional sense that we're all used to?
Yeah, well, and that's all kind of piecing together right now. I'm hoping that, as we kind of get into the latter part of winter here and into the spring, that's kind of the sort of framework of time I'm working with kind of putting together a little tour. I'll probably keep it somewhat close to home for now, just with everything going on, and be safe and everything. But yeah, so we'll definitely do some kind of Kansas City release show. I'm most likely going to do that at the Blue Room, just kind of one of the premier places for the music in the entire city down 18th and Vine. I'll probably get up to the Jewel in Omaha, where David's hometown, great jazz club up there. And then, a couple other places that we're looking at. Jazz Estate is up in Milwaukee. Maybe like Noche and Des Moines. It'd be great to play at, like the Bistro in St. Louis, or the Dark Room somewhere there. That's where I grew up. That's where Peter grew up. And we'll just kind of see what we can do. All those things are sort of falling into place right now, and obviously it's great to be able to share. It's always an honor and a privilege to play in front of live audiences, and particularly attentive live audiences. And so we're looking forward to doing that.
Before we depart here, let everybody know where they can pick up High Plains so that they can have it in their collection.
I think if you go to Bandcamp and you just search my name, as common as my name is, you'll probably find it. And I think that's the very best place to support any of your favorite artists. All of the proceeds go directly to them. Of course, you can always find it on iTunes or some other place like that, or Amazon, or really anywhere. But if you go specifically to Bandcamp, most likely all your favorite artists are on there, and I know they would love if you went there and purchased their work directly from them.
Beautiful. Stephen, thank you for taking a minute out. Good luck with High Plains and the return to the stage. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in Kansas City and spots all over the globe, giving fans all that jazz. Thanks to Stephen for his time and all of this new music. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com. And for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.